Welcome back to Banfi Podcast.
You know, we're all about going deep on a topic, and well, today's topic, it's one that's like always working in the background, right? Mass communication theories. It's all about how media, all the stuff we see and hear influences us, shapes our thoughts,
It really does, and it's kind of sneaky sometimes. We've got this academic paper here that dives into the theories behind all of it. And let me tell you, some of the stuff, it can get a little freaky.
Oh yeah, we're talking about, like, can media really control our minds? Do we even have free will when it comes to our media choices? Big questions.
Big questions, and we're going to try to tackle those head on today.
So let's just, get the basics out of the way first. What exactly are we talking about when we say mass communication?
Basically, it's any way of getting a message out to a ton of people. TV, radio, newspapers, websites, social media, it's all mass communication.
Okay, so it's not just talking to your friend on the phone, it's about reaching the masses. Got it.
Right. And the key here is that those messages, they're not just neutral. They have the power to really impact how people think and act.
Okay, so let's get into some of these theories. Like, what about that one, the, what is it, hypodermic needle theory?
Oh, yeah, that one. The hypodermic needle theory. It's also sometimes called the magic bullet theory.
Oh, yeah, magic bullet, that's the one. That sounds intense.
It is kind of, imagine like a doctor, they're injecting a thought like straight into your brain. No filter, no nothing.
Whoa, that's a powerful image.
Yeah, and that's basically what this theory is saying. Media can just directly like inject ideas and beliefs into people's minds, and they just accept it. No questions asked.
That's kind of scary. So, like, back in the day, people were really worried about propaganda, right?
Absolutely, especially with like wartime propaganda, it was a big concern, and that's where this theory comes from. But it's kind of outdated now.
Outdated? Really? Why?
Well, I mean, come on, we don't just blindly believe everything we see on TV or read online, do we?
Well, some people might, but yeah, you're right. We think for ourselves, we analyze stuff.
Exactly. But, there are still some ways that this theory kind of holds up today. Think about it. Targeted advertising, those algorithms on social media, they're all about feeding us information that we're already likely to agree with, like those filter bubbles.
Oh man, don't even get me started on filter bubbles, I swear. Sometimes I feel like I'm living in my own little echo chamber online.
That's the hypodermic needle at work, my friend. Subtly shaping what we see and hear, reinforcing our biases, all that.
Okay, so that's a little creepy, but we're not just mindless robots, right? I mean, we do make choices about what we consume, don't we?
You got it. We make choices. And that brings us to a completely different theory, the uses and gratifications theory. It's like the opposite of the hypodermic needle.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's that all about?
Basically, this theory says that people actively choose media to fulfill their needs. Like, are you looking for entertainment, information, or maybe just like a sense of community? We choose media based on what we want to get out of it.
That makes sense. Like, I watch certain YouTube channels because I want to learn how to, like, fix my bike. Or I follow certain accounts on social media because, I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm part of something.
There you go. It's all about agency. We're in control. But, and this is a big but, are we really in control as much as we think?
Oh, I see where you're going with this. There's got to be a catch, right?
Right. That takes us to the agenda setting theory. This one's a bit more nuanced.
Okay, lay it on me. What's the agenda setting theory all about?
So it's not that the media tells us exactly what to think, but they are pretty good at telling us what to think about.
Oh, that's interesting. Like, the news can decide what stories are important enough to be on the front page, right?
Exactly. Think about those headlines. They're shouting at us, this is what matters, pay attention to this. And whether we realize it or not, that influences what we talk about, what we worry about, what we consider important as a society. It's setting the agenda for public discourse.
Yeah. I never really thought about it like that before. It's like, even if we have all these choices about what to watch and read, the media is still kind of steering us in a certain direction.
It is, but it goes even deeper than that, because even once they've decided what we should be paying attention to, they can also shape how we think about those issues.
Okay, that sounds like a whole other can of worms. How do they do that?
Well, that's where framing theory comes into play. This one's all about how the information is presented. It's like the same event can be framed in so many different ways.
Oh, I totally get that. Like, one news channel might report on a protest as a violent riot, while another might focus on the peaceful message behind it. Same event, totally different spin.
Exactly. And that framing, it really influences how people interpret what they're seeing or reading. It can even trigger different emotional responses.
It's like, even if they're not telling us outright what to believe, they're still using these sneaky tactics to kind of nudge us in a certain direction, right?
Right. And it all ties together. It's like they give us this illusion of choice with all these different media options, but then they use agenda setting and framing to influence how we perceive the information we're choosing. Our paper actually uses the analogy of a maze, which I thought was really clever.
A maze. Okay, I'm listening.
Like, we think we're navigating the maze freely, making our own choices about which path to take. But in reality, the maze itself is designed to lead us towards certain outcomes. Like with YouTube's recommendation algorithm, it seems like you have endless possibilities, but it's subtly pushing you towards certain types of content based on what you've watched before.
Whoa, that is kind of mind-blowing. It's like the more you learn about this stuff, the more you start to question everything you see and hear. So like, what's the takeaway here? Are we all just stuck in this media maze with no way out?
Well, I wouldn't say that. The point is to be aware of these forces at play. The more we understand about how mass communication works, the better equipped we are to be critical consumers of media. We can start to recognize those subtle biases and manipulations and make more informed choices about the information we consume.
That's a great point. It's not about like rejecting all media or becoming super cynical. It's about being more mindful and intentional about what we choose to let into our minds.
Exactly. It's about taking back control, being an active participant rather than a passive receiver.
So next time you're scrolling through your newsfeed or watching TV, just remember that maze analogy. Ask yourself, am I really making free choices here? Or am I just following the path that's been laid out for me?
Great advice.
That's all the time we have for today's deep dive, folks, but keep those critical thinking caps on because the media landscape is constantly evolving. And the more we understand about how it works, the better equipped we'll be to navigate it with confidence and make sure that we're the ones in control.
That's right. Stay informed, folks.
All right, until next time, happy exploring.